to live with her wife, Dr. Ann. They love to travel and they love their animals. They have chickens, 1 rooster, and 2 dogs. And let's give Revsy a warm welcome.
Thank you, Carrie. And thank you, Debbie. That was beautiful. I love that poem and I appreciate your sentiment. All right, I'm so happy to be here today. I can't tell you how I've looked forward to this since I got back last year as a minister. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to head right into something that I find really important, which is in alignment with my credo, but it's not my credo. So I just had to put this at the beginning because it's coming up a lot lately. And so I'm sure you know there's a lot of suffering in the world right now. And it's become more and more unbearable for so many people. And I don't know about you, but I find it extra challenging. And at these times, it's not just what you hear about on the news, it's what you see on Facebook and on the internet and YouTube. For me, it's those moments when I feel helpless. I've donated and I can't donate enough to release that powerful helplessness. You know, I can't fathom the ideas of families and children without medicine and without food, without shelter, or animals being treated cruelly and used for parts or for research, when all we need to do is appreciate and respect them as creatures in need of care, not of hurt. And I feel this more and more, especially because you see it happening just right below us, to the south of us. But so far away from these circumstances, you know, it's hard to know what to do. So I created, for me to get through these times, and I believe this is going to be helpful for everybody, this simple prayer as an affirmative statement that I trust is going to help, even a little bit, because prayer reaches circumstances instantly. And when regularly stated, the healing power is maintained. But, you know, science has proven that we have to be regular with our prayer, and that is what works. So my prayer for these circumstances where I feel helpless and I can't make a difference, though I would love to, it's very clear and concise. I look at the image of that lost, frightened person or that lost, terrified animal, and I say these words. I call upon the divine light to blanket you and your communities in love for your safety and security. It's simple prayer, it's precise and active prayer, and it's a much needed prayer. For your safety and security. And you're going to understand more about why I say it the way I do as I complete my credo today. And what you don't understand, please ask me in fellowship. So some of you know that I've been that I completed my Master of Divinity with Unity Spiritual Center. And during that time, I had to write a credo, which is a ministerial declaration of my beliefs as a minister and as a person. It's like a personal and ministerial mission statement. At the time, it was 25 pages long, and I had to bring it down to 5 pages to give to my group. And then I had to turn it into a 7-minute talk, which is a page and a half, by the way, and give it to the ministers at the end of my training, many, many ministers, and to be confirmed minister. I believed at the time that I knew exactly what I was going to bring back here to Ottawa and Kitchener and communities. I believed I could add a little more light to a world that was yearning for transformation. But then when I reread my credo several weeks ago, I went, oh, okay. Barely a year after I wrote it, I realized how much I've grown, how much deeper the call to understand truth has become in my life, and how differently I now see the world. My credo was full of love, honest, sincere love, but it still was shaped by a kind of naivety, simplicity, perhaps. It was as though I expected people to know what love is, to understand what I meant when I said the word love. And yet, in this past year, our world has shifted in unmistakable ways. Truth, big, unyielding, spiritual truth, has been calling me forward, sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly, sometimes insisting. And it has come to ask me to reconsider and to deepen and expand how I see the world and how I'm going to present my ministry to everybody. So today, I'm going to add truth to my love credo. I'm going to talk about the big T truth and the little t truth and how understanding the difference transforms the way we approach love. And in action and community and family, and ultimately our shared future on this planet. Little t truths, for instance, they're personal truths. They belong to our preferences, our habits, our comforts. So for instance, a little t truth for me might be I wake up and say, my truth is I love my morning coffee. It also might be that I say, my truth is that I prefer quiet over noise, which everybody knows is true for me. My truth might be that I say my dogs need a firm schedule. But these aren't truth. They're simply familiar patterns. We've attached to these as what we think we are, and we make it sound like a truth. And then there's the more painful examples of my truth is if someone hugs me, I matter, but if they don't hug me, I don't matter. But that's not truth, really, is it? It's a fear. It's a lack of self-empowerment. It's a negative belief masquerading as a truth. So our little t truths shift in the moment our life changes, our view changes. We get a new partner, a new baby, new responsibility. And suddenly, what we thought was something we absolutely needed or absolutely who we were becomes flexible. Suddenly, the truth we held on to tightly dissolves. But the big T truth is something entirely different. Now, the big T is universal. It's unchanging and it's foundational. We are part of a universal ecosystem is a truth. It's a constancy. The earth rotates around the sun. That is a truth. We are interconnected, interdependent. That is a truth as well. The big T truth is the one that's going to wake us up and ask us to understand, yes, that is the truth. It is one that will expand us in our lives, not to hold on to the little t truths. This deeper truth is what has reshaped and revised my credo. So with that in mind, let's talk about love. So when I came home from school last year, I was ready to express the divine idea of love. I intended to uplift the world as love. My core commitment, however, I've changed everything, is still essentially firm at the center, which is that I affirm all beings have value and align with the loving presence to help people awaken to their highest potential, which I believe is the inner Christ. That is still my role. But I've also learned something humbling. As much as I want love to be what saves the world, sometimes love appears to hurt. Sometimes when I follow my guidance to help someone grow, they're not ready. So my clarity feels intrusive because transformation isn't easy. And I'm fully committed to my own transformation every day. And I know many of you are. For a long time, I thought love itself could make it all so much easier to transform. Just love one another, I thought. Surely that's the answer. But is that a big T truth? Or just something Rev C wants to believe? I began my mission to understand love as an ethic. So what is an ethic? At its simplest, an ethic is a moral principle. It is how it affects how people make decisions and lead their lives. It's how we're concerned with what is good for individuals and society. And during the time of exploring ethics with love, I came across this global ethic already out in the world from the Parliament of World Religions in 1993. And they noted that across tradition and religion, across cultures and continents, there's 4 main values that are shared all around the world. The first one is the Golden Rule. Anne pointed that out to us last week. It is to act with compassion, to care for one another. The second global ethic, reverence for life. We all know that life is sacred. The third is justice and peace, assuring that we all want to hold up fairness and dignity for everybody, and nonviolence. And 4, sustainability. We already know we have enough food, water, shelter, and resources for everybody in the world, and we have to make that happen. Those are 4 sincere global ethics. They're not Christian, they're not Buddhist, they're not Hindu, they're not unity explicitly. They're human values, and they're expressions of the divine within. Are you aware that all religions seek the same absolute needs? All cultures have all the same needs. And we're all headed in the same direction. And that is called the perennial wisdom. It's that truth that behind all faiths are the same needs and that we're all heading the same direction, just walking different tributaries. Imagine if we lived this way every day and we had global ethics. Imagine if the whole world actually joined us in doing this. That's a world I want to be in. Perhaps a little naive, but hopeful, faithful. I want to share a story with you about truth and love. As much as I had naively hoped love was enough, I realized that sometimes love isn't enough. And we know that in war, awful things happen, so we don't see love. We only see love show up when we're saving the people or protecting the people. So some time ago, it must be 26, 27 years ago, I was in a room of people, my house, my living room. There was 2 couples, and they were visiting. Well, they actually moved to Canada as refugees. They were both couples were from the former Yugoslavia. One couple had been separated for 4 years during the war. She was safe, and he was living in a large city where there were snipers on every building, and he was hard to go out for food and water. He lost 80 pounds during that time. He joked about the weight loss and how he needed it, but we all knew it wasn't funny. And then there was a woman, a journalist. She was with her husband, and they have a son at home at the time. And she told us her story. She told us of a time with a big ache still there in the room. You could feel it, where she was escaping the former Yugoslavia, and she was trying to gather her family together because they got notice that they could be refugees in Germany. So she and her husband are somewhere going, and she tried to convince the rest of her family to go with them. And they said, no, this is our homeland. This is our country. Everything we know is here. They believed in the honor code, which is a human creation. They were attached to their sentimental ideas, another human creation. The love was being offered was grounded in truth. We're trying to protect you. Your life is at risk. But love, when denied, can't prevail. This taught me something really important. Love will only ever flourish where truth is acknowledged. Your lives are at risk. That was the truth. Honor and sentimentality have no power to save human creation. Just ideas, small t truths. But that is what they stood on. It was a weak foundation because it was not based in the big truth that their lives were at risk. And love was trying to prevail, but they weren't able to hear it, see it. You see, truth protects us. When my new friend at the time finally got to Germany, a few months later, they were able to get word that they were safe in Germany, back to Yugoslavia. And they got message from a neighbor. And the neighbor said that the very next day after they left, her whole family was put against a wall. And they were all shot. Sometimes love isn't enough. We have to follow the truth when it's offered. Truth clarifies, truth awakens us. Because love without truth will not heal us, and love without truth will not save us. Love is just an ideal, unless it has a root and a foundation in truth. And when you can try to see this, then you can really allow love to make a difference. So then what is love? Most of us don't really want love as just a concept. What we're actually longing for is a feeling that love creates. The feeling we have when we experience other things like safety and security, like belonging and caring and compassion and connection. These ideas, having become feelings that make the ideal of love feel real, are actually statements activating our nervous system and therefore our neurotransmitters, giving us a feeling. And they even awaken our desire, because when love feels good, it gives us a desire to unfold our divine nature. Because where are we truly going to feel the greatest, except in the absolute safe of a divine center, a place of spaciousness in God within, where we can truly unfold our wholeness. But love, yet beyond even that, is not a feeling. And it's not just a word. Let me explain. We read in the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verse 34 and 35, where Jesus is to have said, "A new command I give to you, love one another as I have loved you. And by this, everyone will know you are my disciples, if you love one another." And what did his ideal of love look like? What did it really mean? I believe that he was articulating the need for a selfless lifestyle, a humanity based on service and generosity. To him, love wasn't just an ideal, it was an action. Feed the hungry, welcome the outsiders, protect the vulnerable, calm the inner storms, calm the outer storms. Lift those children up spiritually and emotionally. Challenge injustice. Create equality. Be kind. Jesus had lived this. He wasn't just talking through his hat. That's why he's had such a great impact on humanity. Because we are drawn. And this is why I put in my work to understand this man and his mission, now becoming a mission that I'm sharing with you. He showed us that love is action. Love is the courage to take action. And love is the truth of these in motion. And this brings me to a firm realization: the idea of love without action cannot be love. Because love without safety is not love, and love without justice is not love. And if love as an idea does not uplift us, protect us, transform anything, it can't be love. This means that our work as spiritual beings is not to be sentimental, not to misguide ourselves with superficial honor codes. It is to be courageous in our action. It's occurred to me that there's something ever more invaluable that can arise from both truth and love in action. And that is peace. When you add truth to love in action, yes, you can establish peace from there. Truth tells us the root cause and the foundation from which to express and share the actions of love. And together, if we all really look at these, I believe that we can create peace. And they will bring peace to our lives and global peace. This isn't about silent peace, quiet peace, or peace because we avoid. We can't avoid. Peace built on actions of love, arising from the human need to have truth. We need justice. We need kindness, courage, right action, shared humanity, collective transformation. All actions of love arising out of truth can bring us peace. So if people are hungry, truth says, feed them. And love says, I will. That's the action. If people are frightened for their life, truth says, defend and protect them. And love says, I will. If people are being led by a dictator, truth says, challenge him in the courts and walk courageously together and peaceably. And love says, yes, we will. So what is Unity's role in all of this? Unity has always known that actions of love have transformative power. And we know that love tells us that thoughts in mind create after their kind. So imagine this practice. Today I will act out of love. I will see the root of every challenge and love from that foundation in my actions. I see unity as a whole, projecting love forward as actions of kindness, actions of care, actions of compassion, actions of seeking justice and harmony for everyone. I see unity congregations creating safe spaces and cultivating peaceful relationships. And I see congregational members choosing personal transformation and acknowledging their own actions and inaction when necessary, to find their truth. I see that love is only real when it sees truth that awakens us to action, and only in this way is love not an empty word. Love in this way will help us to live in an awakened world celebrating oneness and guide our communities to expand consciousness and transform lives. I'd say really great vision and mission. I see us living as a person. I see this love as both personal and a global ethic, where we can use it to create a world where everybody practices intentional action, where governments are shaped by compassions as actions of love, where families choose peace because they live truthfully together and act only in love, and where people choose to consciously lay down their arms out of love, where communities are committed to justice, and where humanity remembers that we share our divine natures. This is the world I envision as we show where Jesus guided us. And it is a world where all wisdom traditions point toward the shared vision of loving one another, of sustainability, and the reverence for all life and justice. A world that unity is here to help create. You are here for that. So today I'm going to invite you to 2 calls of action. The first one is to offer something loving today for someone in your home, your neighborhood, at the grocery store. Let someone feel loved because of what you do. Be a kind doer. Be the love you want to see in the world. And your second call to action for the week is to take some kind of global action. Something perhaps for our neighbors in Gaza or the USA, for an animal in need, for someone across the world, you may never know their name. Let your compassion ripple outward in ways you cannot measure. Don't do it for recognition. Don't do it for reward, not even for how it makes you feel. Do it because love is who you are. And love is your natural expression in action. So let us have love, actions of love be our ethic. Let compassion be our practice. And let our lives become the truth fully realized. So even if it is today that you say the prayer to blanket another human or animal in love, if that feels right, do that. And when we live in truth with actions of love consistently, intentionally, fearlessly, we won't merely be talking about love. We will become the love. We will radiate love. We will expand love. And then little by little, person by person, act by act, we're going to create a peace-filled world. A peace-filled world. And so it is. Thank you.
It was indeed an inspiring creed. Lot to think about, lot to process.